smoking the gumbo. Few blocks before green, yeah, up in the jungle, poking the bundles. It's history to making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. Peace to the family, peace to the family. Greetings and good evening to everybody in the building. Ashe, ashe, peace, peace, you know what I mean? Greetings, welcome. Happy Soul-Stice. It's a few, you know. We're going to have a special guest tonight. I'm bringing the good brother Ahku to the forefront, to the stage. It's so much going on right now. You know, we're going to follow up from the conversation that we had about a week ago. About maybe 2 weeks ago on YouTube. You know, we had a real deep conversation, and ever since that conversation, a lot of things have occurred, you know. A lot of things have occurred. The sun is upgrading our DNA, says Crazy K. I agree. I definitely agree. I definitely agree that the sun is upgrading the DNA, and the summer's not even here yet. I was in Houston, it was 113 degrees, and it wasn't even summertime, y'all. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the standard out there, but it was that I don't know if I've ever been through 113 degrees before. And to be honest with you, that 113 degrees didn't really feel that bad. You know what I mean? It didn't feel debilitating. It didn't feel like God, like the sun was mad at me and whatnot. The shit felt invigorating. Yeah, I heard about Killer Mike's album. Salute to him. So, not only did the shift take place, but the shift is taking place. Portals are opening up. Okay? That ship went down to look for the Titanic and disappeared. You got people hopping off of the side of the Grand Canyon. You know, the portals are opening up. Pop, what up? Make no mistake about it. You know, it's a lot of shit going on right now. It's a lot of shit going on right now. You know, so we're going to make some sense of it. Tomorrow, me and the brother Ahku have a class that we're starting for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. I highly suggest that everybody who's interested in being able to look at the world through a different set of glasses or a different set of lens, through a scientific, more calculated perspective, that you become a student. The Fundamentals of Cosmophysics is the name of the 4-week class that we're going to be doing. I highly recommend it for everybody, all of my master students. If you're not studious and you just outside playing and whatnot, then this ain't for you. This ain't for you. But if you want to make sense of the shit that's going on, because it ain't going to stop going on. It's not always, it's only going to ramp up. You know what I mean? We've shifted into dimensions. We're on multiple timelines right now. You dig what I'm saying? So if you want to walk through this world and have an understanding as to what's taking place, then yeah, the classes will be recorded. They will be available for replay for educational purposes only and not commercial purposes. I have to put that out there. They will always be available to students. They will always be in your possession, but you could only watch it on Patreon. Okay? You'll only be able to see it on Patreon. That's where you stream it from. Let's talk AI. What you want to talk about? You know? AI is making some major moves. Today, an article just came out where Bill Gates and I believe Jack Ma and some other investors just invested in an AI company to the tune of $1 billion, right? The first unicorn AI business in creation. It's on record, June the 20th. They just made a AI business that used machine learning, right? Listen to this. This business uses machine learning to locate and to basically look into the earth to locate rare minerals that these companies are going to need for the EV revolution, the electronic vehicle revolution. And if anybody knows how much rare earth or how much the earth is being disrupted just to get one battery, nah. Gold and ruby, no, these are red opals. These are red gold with red opals. That's the grill right there. You dig what I'm saying? That's the grill. You know what I mean? Before I get my teeth done, I'm gonna have to floss some red opals on the world real quick. You know, yeah, that's what I get. You know what I mean? I had to, you know what I mean? That's that. I'm on my sun god shit. You know what I'm talking about? I'm on my sun god. I want to attract the sun in any way possible. This sun for this summer is going to give you years back on your life if you get into that motherfucker the right way. If you get into that grass, if you get into that water, and if you get into that sun butt naked and charge up your genitals, your yoni and your pony, you know what I'm talking about? Absorb all of these sun rays. There was just a Schumann resonance, right, on the 18th. The Schumann resonance on the 18th, right? It went off the Richter scales. It administered a reading that's never been seen before in the readings of the Schumann resonance, and this took place in Russia. Okay, this took place in Russia to Bombaklad. Let me see if I got some of the video on my laptop, on my desktop. I'll show it to you. Give me 1 second. So, shit is going up. You know what I mean? They not talking about it, but it's going down and it's going up. You know? Check this out.
We're jumping through timelines that we get these kind of things. So if you've been feeling extremely tired and fatigued today, give yourself a little bit of a break because the Schumann resonance has been going absolutely insane. The Schumann resonance, if you didn't know, is kind of like the resonance, the frequency of the earth. And we're all completely connected to it. Here it is where they censor it. They just take the data out for whatever reason. All of it is absolutely spiking right now to where we're getting this. Many people say that.
So that's June the 7th, right? That's June the 7th, right? So it's been going down for a minute now. That's June the 7th, right? So look what happened on June the 18th, okay? Look what happened on June the 18th. Right? Follow the Schumann resonance. Look at his face.
We are getting some DNA upgrades right now. There is no way you're not feeling this. This is the Schumann resonance right now. This is the vibrational frequency of the earth. We are all vibrational frequency, and we are being affected by this. Normally it is just blue. Every once in a while we will get this huge spike of a blackout, and it's like we're timeline jumping. Leading up to this, I was seeing non-stop angel numbers everywhere that I looked, and now this is turned into sacred geometry. We are at a power level of 185. This is the normal line that it is at. It went right here, blacked out. You can see it spiked. They deleted the data, then it dropped back down, and then it jumped right back up. Normally it's just completely random. It'll have a spike every once in a while. I have never seen it do anything like this. It is creating these DNA-looking strands, and we have been going through this since last night. So if you are feeling this, you need to go get your feet on the ground, drink a lot of water, and stay hydrated because...
Man, oh man. These are some of the things that they won't tell you about. but they'll broadcast how many people got shot over the weekend, and they'll talk about all of the things that'll release cortisol and fear into your system, right? And they'll propagate and push all kind of fear paradigm narratives and agendas, but they won't talk to you about the upgrade. They won't talk to you about the fact that the ships and whatnot are here, and they're making themselves appear and whatnot. And they won't talk about the downloads that people are receiving and whatnot. They won't talk about the way that the sun is outside going crazy. That's what we're here to do. That's why we have to trust each other, and we got to be able to communicate with each other in a healthy manner and whatnot, so we could maintain and keep the lines of communication open. You know what I mean? At this point, you don't need me to tell you, you grown. You don't need me to tell you that mainstream media is a crock of shit and you're not going to receive what you need from it. Right? You're not going to receive what you need. Although they have pieces and nuggets and morsels and whatnot, and we come and put them together, and then we give us the information. So we have a master when it comes to decoding not only what's going on the planet, on the dirt and whatnot. We have a master who can read the skies, right? People sometimes don't realize the powerful individuals that they have in their presence, right? We look at things like artificial intelligence and all of these websites and whatnot to take the place of our master teachers, and that's not how we do it over here. You feel me? We don't do it like that over here. You know what I mean? We bring our master teachers to the forefront, and we put them in the light and whatnot, and we help them showcase their talents and their skills to the world. So, you know, I'm carrying on tradition. I'm going to bring my brother Ahku on the stage so he could talk that talk. You feel me? And he could line up some things that are going on and make some sense of some things, because we are in some very, very interesting times. Hip hop is 50 years old. If you look at the landscape of hip hop right now and take a snapshot of it, meaning that if you screenshot Vlad TV or World Star Hip Hop, right, or the Shade Room, or any of the places that people go for hip hop news, the shit looks like it looks like at 50 years old, hip hop has dementia, it got worms, it's in a sick body. You know? And it's in a sick body. You feel me? Hip hop at 50, based off of what's coming out this year, and based off of what we're hearing and what we're seeing, yeah. I think Boozy got bail. Free the guy. Free Boozy. Boozy coming home. But Taxstone got 35 years today. I saw another rapper get 35 years today. Casanova, he's about to get some football numbers. You know, I'm just saying, it looks like that the narrative of the streets, this quote unquote, this dark cloud that has been over hip hop is coming into its 50th year, and it seems like the cloud is slowly beginning to dissipate. You know what I mean? That spell is beginning to break. You feel me? Because they can't sell our people that quote unquote defunct dream about them being drug dealers, hustlers, killers, and villains, and being able to live a prosperous life, or to break generational curses, or to basically pass down, you know, their wealth to their children and their prodigy. You're not going to do that taking penitentiary chances every fucking day for peanuts. You're not going to do that. That shit is dead. Okay? That New Jack Swing or that New Jack City mentality, that you know, Biggie's dream and whatnot, the shiny suit bad boy era, it has to come to an end. Okay? It has to kneel. That shit has to evolve into something, or it just has to fucking disappear, because the means don't justify the ends. Shout out to Killer Mike. I heard he put out. I did not. I'm gonna go on record saying that I didn't hear the whole album. I heard a few cuts, and what I heard, I was impressed. Shout out to Killer Mike. Okay, for putting out some good music, and I hope that his shit hits #1, and we get one #1 album on the 50th year of hip hop. Okay, yeah, death to the deaf culture. The shit had its run. You know, mushrooms grow out of feces, right? Mushrooms grow out of feces. The fertilization has taken place. Kudos to the dark side of hip hop. Kudos to the underworld. You know, we popping a Menta. You know, salute to the underworld. Salute to the dark shit. We with all of that. You know what I mean? Did you die? But after a while, something has to grow out of all of that carnage, out of all of that, quote unquote, all of that blood sacrifices that have been taking place. Something magnificent has to be born out of that. So I'm patiently just waiting to see, what the alchemists are alchemizing. Right, Ahku, if you in the building, send me a request so I could pull you on stage and whatnot so we could chop it up. You know what I mean? Russell Simmons, right? The face of hip hop at 50, right? Got publicly outed and embarrassed, right? His quote unquote bronze statue, right, was toppled by his children, his progeny, and his baby mama, who said that she was with him when she was in high school at 16. She said it out of her mouth, right? You know, when shit goes wrong, they're going to throw you under the bus. Russell is on the run for some shit that Russell did, right? That Russell don't want to, quote unquote, he don't want to face that demon. So the face of hip hop, the man with the gold ceilings and whatnot, the man who sold out hip hop, if you want to keep it 1,000, the man who sold out hip hop, Russell Simmons. Right? That sent the shit in the direction that it's in right now. He's the main one. So you see how his karma has affected him. All right? Peace to the God.
Peace, God.
The legend. What's good with you, my brother?
I'm having a Jupiter on the third cusp today. So our out of the nowhere conversation led me down a rabbit hole since we spoke earlier today.
Oh, you've been going through the
It's only been like less than an hour, but it made me. I went to go look up the source of the Schumann resonance. And I know this is a whole new show, a whole new presentation, but this is you really blew my mind tapping into that because
no, this is a continuation of the conversation that we had that already went viral on YouTube.
Okay.
So this is the follow-up. You know what I mean? This is the epilogue. So let's get to it.
I have some astrological perspective to put out there for people to consider, because the whole science of astrology for the last 100 years has been under scientific debate.
Yes.
But you have scientists and engineers like Maurice Cotterell and Percy Seymour, the black man scientist, who these people have been disproving all of the mysticism that has been attached to it and proving all of the mathematical concurrences that occur between the entire environment, universe around us, and our very own beings.
Right.
Okay. So patterns there reflect patterns here, basically, right?
Basically.
So the Schumann resonance, they theorize that the lightning that charges in this atmosphere, in our atmosphere, in our ionosphere,
ionosphere, right?
That it is channeled, right, and dispersed or amplified by our atmosphere. And I said that's very likely because when I was 7 and 6, 7 years old, we used to go to the Boys Club in Binghamton, New York. And my brother would get a penny and tap the side of the wall and communicate with me all the way across the pool when we were underwater. And you see what I'm saying?
Right.
You can actually hear the penny
right.
in an Olympic-sized pool.
Right.
Like you can hear it like it's in your fucking ear, like at your earplug.
Right.
So if gas is just a lighter form of liquid,
right,
because right, if you understand that, right, the denser the gas, the more liquefied, basically.
Right.
Okay. So where we move through the air, fish move through water. You know, to the fish, the air is water. I mean, the water is air. You know, it's like flying through the air to the birds and that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So at any rate, then it's very likely that the charge from a lightning bolt, goddamn, is likely to charge everything that would receive it.
Right.
For as far out, like if you drop a bomb, the way the radius spreads. Okay? Right. Ground 1, ground 2, ground 3, ground 4, ground 0, like this here. That we already know that such wave patterns in the electromagnetic sphere by Percy Seymour improving, and Robert Cotterell repeated the test, that planetary electromagnetisms have a play on the electromagnetic sphere of the Earth. And if the electromagnetic sphere of the Earth takes part in regulating and dispersing and absorbing and, you know, making good a quite a lethal thing, then there's astrological input to the planet Uranus with this regard.
Right.
Okay. Which is electricity, which is lightning, which is planetary electromagnetism. You see what I'm saying? That one planet points to all that. So that's where I got when I said, man, let me go in here and discuss with the brother what I found concerning what we were talking about. Because the Vedas, the Vedic science, Sanatana Dharma, Jyotishi, and the yoga and all of that have already found these the rates of breath that resonate, that resonate with the human nature and the earth.
Right.
Okay, and the entire solar system. Like breathing so many breaths per minute. 9 breaths per minute gives you so many breaths per hour, which raises your frequency to a specific level. You see, breathing this many breaths per minute is going to raise your frequency to exactly this level. Like they have volume control on the shit.
Right.
Well, this is a part of the reason why the astrology is all pertinent.
No, most definitely.
So, while people are saying that astrology is a mystic spiritual art form, they have no clue the scientific basis and the fact that science actually evolved out of this science, period. You know, but I don't even want to make it all that. Let me just go back to what's going on. When we talked about the eclipse, I talked about Mars's place in Cancer in the eclipse. And I said to people that, you know, we should see houses burning down or fires.
Right.
Because the last time, back in 2012, when Mars was in Cancer and we had an eclipse, there was all those fires in LA.
Right.
And all
the Cali fires.
Right, those Cali fires. So there goes the astrological indicator, Mars in Cancer. Every time we see that, we're going to see some national fires.
Right.
Okay? It wasn't just the Cali fires. Right after that, the Amazon.
Amazon got lit up.
This program of clearing, they land clearing, fucking with the ecosystem, is
in the biosphere.
Easily observable when we know that Mars is going to be in Cancer as well. You see?
Right.
Now, going back to the what I noticed about Uranus is one day I met a guy named Theodore White. He does the astrology of weather.
Okay.
So you know, I'm all interested in shit like that, right?
Right.
So, and I had never heard of it nor seen it before.
Right.
You know, I met this guy.
Astrology of weather. That's different.
Yeah, I said, how are you predicting the weather with astrology, God? Like, I understand how it applies to it. And I wasn't skeptical as to the fact that it could be done. I was totally not knowing what tools from the astrological canon were being used to make such a determination.
Right.
And I wanted him to discuss that.
Right.
And he did. He did. On my show back in 2012. Right? Too bad all that's wiped out now. Sorry, guys.
Well, your blog talk?
Yeah, my blog talk. Right? I brought him on my blog talk to explain that shit.
Right.
So what I remember of it was that he's watched, it's regulated by the sun and the moon. And the planets have their counsel as to how the sun and the moon are going to act. Either it's going to be hot or it's going to be wet. You know, it's going to be water, shit's going to fall from the sky. It needs to be liquid, so that's the moon. And if it's going to be hot, then that's the sun. So it's going to be evaporating, right? That all of the in-betweens are determined by the planets. He said, and pay attention to how when the moon runs over Uranus or is approaching Uranus, because this is where we see our worst thunderstorm. And Uranus is the measure for electricity anywhere in the universe.
Right, right.
You see what I'm saying?
Fact.
Whether it's technology. This is why I represent technology, because technology is all dependent on electricity. You see what I'm saying? People don't even see how fragile this technological matrix that we are casting upon the next age of humanity globally is fragile as fuck, man.
Yeah.
One lightning storm will put your power outage. We'll shut the whole world down.
Shut the whole shit down. Or a flood. World. Right. Exposure to water is also kryptonite to it. But yeah, an electrical storm a solar storm will disrupt the grid.
Annihilate.
Put that shit out.
Yeah, annihilate. See, they gotta learn how to deal with these cycles because they are a natural part of Earth's motion through the universe, man. You can't ignore that. And see, people that are ignorant of that factor, of that level of reality, astrologers say, you're not in control, nigga. You dig? And when they be like, yeah, I can control because I can grab this can and squeeze it. See, I have control. Like, really, nigga? Do you stop the Earth, stop a meteor from smashing this motherfucker. Right. There's a tsunami gonna happen in Australia tomorrow. But I want you to be on the boat that's on that water when you control it, nigga. You know, there's shit that you don't have control of here that actually dictates what you will have control of here. In other words, we don't control all the water on Earth, but we can channel in the water, God, and we can have running water for everybody. And nobody got to thirst to death. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Now, we still ain't got control over the fucking oceans, God. Right. But we can pull in enough water out of these rivers to survive. To survive, right. So you did, this is a zone, Earth, y'all, reality, the third dimension is a zone where you got to follow, you got to play by the rules, you dig? And if you learn the rules, then you can learn how to use them. Right. Right. All right. And that would be. I want to talk you out. I want to talk you out. Go down. I'm just adding on. Yeah, that would be the Hermetic principles, the laws, the universal laws as well. You can't escape that. I don't care how long of a syllable you got in your Facebook name, or how many chickens fell underneath your raft and whatnot, or how long your ceremony was. It doesn't take away from the fact that the laws of polarity still exist. The law of correspondence, the law of genders, you know, these things will always be ingrained into the program. But please continue. Well, anyway, so what drove me down the rabbit hole was, and I realized I didn't have enough time to get it, is because I don't do calculus. Okay? And they show how the calculus mathematical formula that they use to break down the Schumann resonance. Right. But my whiz does calculus. Right. So I was able to call her into this situation. She over there, say hello. Right. Okay. Sing. But I just had to put her in there. So I said to her, I don't know how to do calculus, so break this down for me real quick. Right. And she was like, really, nigga? Like that's somebody. You think you can learn calculus in 5 minutes? And I'm like, no, but you can break it down for me, so at least I understand what is being applied here.
Right.
So she did. She explained the components of the problem to me. I still haven't yet learned to solve it, but I will. She'll be teaching me how to solve it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I have a Wiz that can teach me something, God.
I mean, that's godly right there.
You know, like some niggas be like, they don't want a Wiz that has a mind of their own. My Wiz getting ready to be a tech engineer, man. Software engineer. I know nothing of that shit, and I could use a whole lot of software right now.
That's right.
So I need that in my life, right? I need this in my life right there.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
That's how the cipher's complete right there.
Man, please. Exactly. Now we got a whole bunch of things we don't need from the little ones that actually complete the cipher, right?
Right.
So we got to teach them how to close it out of the cipher so we can keep that cipher clean, guys. You know, and that is hell on a man. Being in hell. Okay.
But my theory is when the mother and the father lock in, right? When the physics and the mathematics come together, the young gods, right? That's when their purpose is revealed and whatnot. So it's all in alignment. Just keep doing what you're doing in that aspect. Once you build that bridge, you'll be surprised which one of your seeds will cross over that bridge. The bridge isn't built yet, though.
Well, the seeds and the blueprints to that shit is in our DNA.
It's in the DNA. It's already written.
So yeah,
it's already coded.
You know, one day we was doing a speech down in Georgia. Me, you, Red Pill, A.A. Rashid, you know. You smart ass Scorpio, sarcastic ass nigga.
That's right.
You know, Blue Pill turned to me and said, "Cuz, Rock, cause it ain't written in stone, right?" And I didn't want to blow up the spot, but I got a response for that shit years later. Okay. So the response is no, it's not written in stone, y'all. It's written in the stars and it's written in your fucking DNA.
That's right.
And it's written in the Fibonacci sequence from the microcosm out into the macrocosm and back. Absolutely.
That's right.
Now there you go. No, it's not written in stone. Okay?
It's written. Well, the stone is your DNA.
Yeah, that's right.
The stone.
And it is the universe, the stone wall of the universe.
That's right.
If you want to call it. In that case, it is written in stone. You know. But really, the question is, where is it not written?
Right.
It's written everywhere.
Please answer where it's not written.
Yeah. So because metaphysically speaking, cosmically speaking, the pattern, mathematical patterns and behaviors and cyclic manifestation of these patterns happen from the microscopic to the galactic scale. And there is no place in between, no frequency, no plateau, no peak or low that we can find in existence where that pattern isn't consistent. And it is the consistency of that pattern that allows us to experience reality in a static form. Thus, it is not going from hot to cold, cold to hot, wet to dry, that it happens in a gradual, sequential manner.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Everything behaves in a cyclic pattern. So to deny the capacity for predictability is foolish.
Right.
When you know everything manifests itself in pattern. And if you can find the pattern, then you can find the potential probability, the rate of potential probability.
Right.
And being able to find the rate of potential probability, you have to properly apply the principles to that cyclic manifestation to create a pattern. And from that pattern, predictions can be made. And proper, accurate prediction is nothing other than prophecy. And this is the difference between a man and an animal. A man can be a prophet.
Right.
He can know shit. Where you take a bum off the street and put a crown on this nigga's head, you put a scepter in his hand and a cape, you know, a bearskin cape on it, and set his ass on a golden throne and tell him, look, man, all that drinking gotta stop. you got to run this country. This shit going. He will make it a concerted effort,
He
yo.
will. He will.
But let's do that to a dog or an ape.
Right.
And that nigga ain't gonna stop being a monkey for 1 fucking second, dog. Okay? You can do all that to this gorilla, and then 5 minutes later, he is shitting on the throne, beating your ass with a box of bananas you got.
Right.
Okay? Right. So the men, people, we have our power is to change our environment and our circumstances.
Got willpower.
So this is where we are applied the opportunity to exercise our will, man, on the things that we have been given to exercise our will with. Okay? And by the way, everybody, self is the first thing on that list to be developed when you get here if you didn't know. Okay? Like, I don't even know what to say outside of that.
Right.
I ain't got no more to add to it than that, man. Self is the first fucking thing on that list, and it's the last thing. It's the only thing. It's the only thing that shows up in fraction form on top of everything that you need to learn here. So you got self-motivation, self-preservation, you learn how self coordinates, how self interacts, how self finds peace, how self finds happiness, how self, all these little things that we are given to exercise. Self is in a fraction form over top of all of it.
That's why it is of no coincidence that the name of our 4-week class, it is called Know Thyself, right?
Yeah.
It is called Knowledge of Self, right? Fundamentals of Cosmophysics, Knowledge of Self, the fundamentals of Cosmophysics. And somebody was asking, what tier on Patreon do you enter for the 4-week class? That would be the Citrine membership. Citrine, which is the Scorpio birthstone. And me and this good brother right here are both Scorpio kings and whatnot. Scorpio Kangs with an A. And, you know, that's what we do. So one of our passions and what we're enthusiastic about in this walk of life that we have as Scorpios is about the self, the self-discovery, you know, all of the many facets of self, you know. Can you briefly give the future students and the students that are in the audience a brief rundown about how we'll use this 4 weeks together to explore self?
Yeah. Normally, see, I have an academy of my own already. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
I run predictive astrology. Okay. Normally, you get into my academy and I begin with an orientation. Okay. Because everybody that has been studying astrology doesn't really see its roots. And it's rooted in the conceptualization of time. And you got people out here saying that time don't exist, right? So we need to get into the science of time.
That's right.
Where that is not actually required to interpret astrological signs. That aspect of it is absolutely required in order to understand how to measure these motions.
Right.
And how to convert them into your real life is because you convert them to the time that they are going to appear in your life. At what age you will be, how many revolutions you will be when this pattern starts to emerge. Okay.
Right.
So people get into cosmophysics without a clue of what it actually entails. So what I'm going to do with your course is an introductory to those things, so they will have a clue.
Right.
What studying astrology is. We can't cram cosmophysics into a 4-week thing, but the orientation that I normally give my students once they enroll, I can easily impart to everyone.
Right.
You see, I can impart that to everyone without damaging my academy, my curriculum, and that. You understand? So that's what the 4-month, and to address questions. I love you skeptical motherfuckers too. Okay?
Right.
I love beating y'all niggas up. Okay? So come on in with your questions. You think you're tough, you're not. I'm gonna break you down.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna show you how this shit is 100% science, mathematics, and geometry.
Yeah, break through all of that falsehood.
So there's no misunderstanding as to the mechanics of this reality right here.
Right.
Okay, that's what, and that's what you're gonna get a full understanding of. And you
Right.
know, you gonna get in where you coming at. You
Right.
dig? You gonna get placed according to where you coming in. If you don't understand, you know, this, then we gonna cover that. We gonna cover what is not generally understood, basically, and what should be generally. It should be general knowledge, but it's not. Okay, that's what we
Right.
gonna cover. Like you have no clue how the atmosphere's electromagnetic charge is responsible for the day-to-day cycle of temperature. Thus,
Right.
it is always cooler in the morning and in the night when the sun goes down at those equilibrium points. That it is always the coldest while the sun, part of the day, while the sun is in the first house.
Right.
Okay? So if you understand that geometry, that the sun is doing nothing but moving around a circle from a geocentric perspective, you can apply that directly to the sacred geometry. And there from that emerges astrology, dude. And the sacred geometry emerges from the patterns of numbers that emerge out of geometric measure.
Right.
For example, any number any number that you 360 is going to equal 9. And any number you multiply that by is going to come out to 9 now. So you can multiply 360 by your phone number, and then take all those numbers and add them all up, and they all add up to 9. You see, well, this is why Hindu astrology is based on 3, 6, and 9s. It's why Western astrology has this trine, sextile, nobile aspect. The 3, 6, 9, you see, and all of this geometry is what resonances and cycles are being used. The geometry is what is being used to measure these cycles. And if you're not measuring the cycle, you don't see the frequency, you don't see the potential probability associated with that, and you're not able to use this cycle metaphysically, man. Because that's really all we're doing.
Right.
When you wake up and say, I'm going to move with the sun today, you're not just moving in the light. You're moving with all the electromagnetism that the sun is directly exposing to everything in his fucking kingdom. You see what I'm saying? And that electromagnetism is the 432 hertz. And it concurs with 432 year cycles. And for example, Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is a 12-year cycle. Okay, well, 12 times 360, because 360 degrees is a year, is a solar cycle.
Right.
So there are 12 solar cycles. If you look at that, 12 times 360 is 4,320. That's 432, which is the megahertz that they took out of regular music, because human frequency, it resonates with the human frequency, and it resonates with the key word
from the 11:11 meditation.
Right. So there, these this geometry, as is presented in astrology, is the same sacred geometry that it has been applied in all of the monuments, and it's more sacred geometry than it is astronomy.
Right.
But it is the sacred geometry of the planets that makes astrology. So the sacred geometry of meditation and all that rests in those different types of breath that they teach you in Sanatana Dharma. That Ra'uni and men broke down. And Metunetta.
And the Metunetta.
Yeah, he showed the in the Metunetta, he showed the constants, the geometry. He showed the rates of breath corresponding to, and I saw how they correspond to geometric constants through sacred. So, the ancients have been in tune with these frequencies since as far back as we can go. And you have to imagine that in the age of Aquarius, we reach technological and artificial heights. That in other ages, we reach organic, natural, technological heights. Okay? So we had a more organic technology, but they demonstrate now. You saw that old YouTube clip of a Buddhist monk out there with them horns. and being able to move a stone,
Right,
a gigantic stone,
right.
right? Then that right there is what they found in one of their secret little texts. And they decided to reenact that experiment that they were doing on a very small scale with whoever put that secret in those scrolls was doing with it.
Right.
In other words, the niggas who wrote that shit was building cities like this. Oh, see, and men back then understood the principle of unity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And we were able in unified form to do things that modern man is like still with all his technology, with all his satellite imagery, can't figure the fuck out how we did, man. We did it with unity, God.
Right, because think about it. Man comes together, right, for war these days, like in the army and shit like that, or for sports to see men, other men. You know, they'll put 80,000 out for a goddamn football game.
Now you don't know the crazy. Let me slip this in there. War is Mars, and Mars is singularity or unity. So, and competition. So you're just showing how the correlation works according to cosmic law. Go ahead.
That's a fact. However, I would love to see that same 80,000 and that same 100,000 come together and move some fucking rocks with their mind.
Yeah, well, you got to get people to believe nowadays that it's actually financially worth it. Okay?
I know. I mean, I'm working on that.
We wasn't worried about capitalism. We was on
a whole different time.
Yeah.
Right.
We wasn't now paying. We in our lower self, tangible.
Right.
Phil, peace to the God, Phil. Okay. I thought that was Paul for a second party. Okay,
right,
see,
right.
You know, you can catch a nigga up, even though I know y'all apart. You know, I just saw Phil, automatically assume it was Paul, right? But anyway, and so man back then realized the benefit of unity. Today, people don't see the benefits in that aspect of life. They're looking at financial resources as the ultimate benefit. So first thing people got to get together is their mind state while still being able to survive in an environment that requires you to have fiat. It requires you to have money.
Right.
You can, you know, and it's foolish to think you're going to change the system like that. You're not gonna, man. The whole world is economics. So we're going to have to get with it. That's the order of the day. And with the excellence of humanity is being able to create a solution for all your problems. Okay, this is the most excellent human being, the one who most adequately solves all his problems.
That's right.
It determines the best of humans.
That's right.
Okay, so it's not religion, but this is the shit that religion is made out of. This is the shit religion is made out of. So once I realized that Uranus, it is true. I saw the moon one day applying to Uranus.
Right.
And one of my comrades was asking me, so that he didn't tell me that moon right there is being used to determine what I'm going to do tomorrow or within the next hour. I said, yeah, it doesn't determine what's going to be. It gives indication as to what has already been determined, dude.
Right.
So you see, it doesn't determine. So you have to understand, it just gives us a means by which to measure what's been determined already. Right. So I said, so for example, I knew that this was back in 2010. Uranus was in Aries, and I knew that the moon was in Aries. So I said, you see all these clouds formulating right now? Notice how they appear to be moving with that moon. I said, you think that they're not? They are. That moon is drawing up all the mist in our environment. And it's in its geometric perspective in our environment right now, that when it rains tonight, we're going to have a lot of thunderclaps. And he's like, and how do you know that? I said, because I also know that the planet Uranus, the god of thunder, is in Aries right now. You see, and Aries is a ruckus sign when you talk about nature. You talk about a ruckus, okay? A forest fire or an animal on the attack, you know, man at war. So you're talking about a ruckus energy no matter what the fuck. You see what I'm saying? I said, so if it rains, and I said, I don't know if it's going to rain tonight. That's what I told her. I said, but if it does, we're going to have some serious thunders. Man, it wasn't even 4 hours. Man, the gods is up there bowling. Okay? Dude, you can hear that. You know, and he was like, man, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, you know, I said, look, dude, I said the worst storms occur when the moon conjuncts Uranus. I learned that from my brother Theodore White. So, you know, I said at that point, I removed the cap off of the astrology. You know, I had a gauge. I had a limit as to what I believed it could be applied to, what I believed it couldn't be applied to. At that point, I was like, it can be applied to everything. Fuck y'all.
Right, right.
Yeah, this is my new religion. Y'all niggas got me fucked up because there's nothing else as consistent as this.
It's
You see?
consistent.
So that when I said nothing else, I meant at the level. See, we can measure, we can pick one planet in your birth chart and follow that motherfucker from the day you were born and see your actual development with the measure of that one planet. And that planet concurs with the part of your nature that produces the quality we're developing here. Okay? You see? This is what people don't understand. It's to personify these gods into, you dig, Mars energy at its base level is anger and frustration, irritation, and you see, but at its developed level, it is what you use to execute your physical, to tell your finger to touch your nose, to touch your ear with you. You see, it's that same energy that you have to develop your annoyances on, you dig, to be able to control your angers. You see what I'm saying now?
Right.
That same energy is what you use to execute force on any plane of existence. So the natural motion of Mars in our solar system concurs with the rate of human development with that regard.
Right.
So there goes how you are the universe, man, metaphysically. You see? So Schumann resonance is going to have its effect because your birth chart is the picture of your electromagnetic fields and exactly where they were when you were born.
You were born, right.
Geometrically. Now that means that these fields are charged throughout the entirety of your life by where they were, because this is what makes you physically. Right. And I proved that year after year on your show, reading niggas' scars, telling them where they had scars on their body.
Super fact.
Now I do it in reverse. I just ask a nigga what his scar is and I start reading them. You see? But that actually came from a knowledge of what geometry in the chart puts on the body and where there's going to be, what does this say? Oh, and it shows where your sensitivities are biometrically, cosmobiometrically. Okay, that's what the birth chart is for. This is why we're able to tell you that you know, once you develop a skill with the craft, where your wounds are, where your downfalls are, where your opportunities are, where your big windows, success windows are. Because success energy was allotted to your ass at birth. It was at a certain place in the sky, and that success energy is what I use whenever I randomly call you, your brother, anybody else I fuck with, and be like, look, nigga, you're going to be in the Jupiter in a couple of days. If you fuck that up, that's on you.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. The God delivers the when I see that phone ringing, when I see the bat phone ringing, and I see his name pop up, I already know what it was about. I know what it's gonna be. He gonna tell me that I got a date coming up, and make sure that I wear all white and get ready because the blessings is coming, and they always come. We was doing this all the way back in 2011.
Yeah, it took a few years too to convince this nigga, y'all. Okay,
I'm hard-headed.
Yeah, well, that's what Scorpio is, and that is our safety gauge. So, you know, to stop being hard-headed is stupid for any fixed sign. That's Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. You're hard-headed by nature. You're supposed to be hard-headed. You're supposed to learn how to be a little bit more appropriate with it, but you're supposed to be hard-headed from the jump. So to clinging to it, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing against your own nature with that.
Right,
now,
right.
To the contrary, mutable signs are supposed to be flexible. They supposed to be open. And these are the niggas that's always running around trying to tell you to be open to every motherfucking thing. Okay?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Super facts. Somebody was asking, could we get into the logistics of the course, the timing, the day of the week, and the length of the class? The day of the week that we'll do it is on communication on Mercury on Wednesdays. The timing that we're going to be doing it is 4:44 Eastern, 4:44 p.m. Eastern time. The length of the class will be determined by the lessons that are being taught. Minimum 1 hour, you know, and all the classes will be recorded and they'll be available for replay because Ahku, he goes in, so you might not get everything in one sitting, and that's good.
Well, I promise you ain't gonna get everything in one sitting, man. You ain't gonna get everything in the 4 sittings that we're doing. And for me to say that you would be straight fraud.
Right.
Okay. Number one, it's stupid to think you can get it in 4 sittings. Okay. Right. But you have the opportunity to get 4 sittings. So get them while you can, get them while they hot, get them while I'm in the mood. Because when I retire, you niggas are gonna be subject to my students, and you think I'm bad.
Right.
You think I'm bad. And a lot of people, you have a general question as to how metaphysics is an actual science as opposed to how it is a belief system. Like, people think it's a cultivational system of philosophy. A cultivational system of philosophy has emerged from it, but astrology itself is a pure 100% science. It's the science of time.
Right.
And you have to understand that is geometric, and the geometry is used to make the determination as to the whens of things. Because every 90 degrees we have a different season. So that is purely geometric. This is why the circle with the cross in it, the circle and the compass, the compass and the square and all that symbolism, you find it hieroglyphically back to the very beginning.
Right.
It was all about quartering off and pairing off the circle. There was the seasons. There were the 4 seasons of the day, the 4 seasons of the week, the 4 seasons of the month. But yes, to answer somebody's question as to the day, time, of week, they want a specific calendrics on when the date was going to be. I totally misunderstood that question, and because that's exactly what I intended on explaining, the science of time,
right,
and the geometry behind it, and that geometry and timing is the basis of astrological study. So if you come to this class, you're going to get the absolute, you don't get my orientation class, basically.
Right. I mean, that's what they're going to need anyway.
You did? In order to understand predictive method, you're going to have to understand cyclic geometry. If you can demonstrate that you can do the geometry in one sitting,
right.
Which I doubt you're going to be able to get that. Because the geometry is based on celestial motion, planetary motion. See, and if you're not in the science of determining how many degrees of space a planet is moving, and you're not going to observe the aspects during that space, that you can't do that in one city. See, that's impossible.
Right.
But to know what is required of you can be explained in 4 sittings.
Right.
So you actually, what it's like is you get in my class, you get in my academy.
Right.
And orientation to level 1 is what you get in this class.
Definitely. And we'll have it set up for everybody that's in the orientation in this 4 weeks, the 4-week class that we have. You'll be able to be onboarded into any further classes after that, and we'll make it very easy and beneficial for you. You want to do this real quick while we have the family in the building? We real deep tonight. You want to do a few readings? You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm going to do 5 people.
All right. So,
and before this, man, I'm doing 5 people. I'm going to give y'all 2 minutes apiece, man. You're not going to do this to me.
I made an agreement.
Look, man, I done created a policy for this type of shit, right? See, I'm welcome to do this shit on everybody's show.
Right.
But I'll come to y'all niggas' lectures and do this shit out front, and let's see how many people sit in there and listen to y'all.
Right. So this is me showing off for everybody that's in the audience. If you've never seen this brother demonstrate his powers